Economist.
Recently published growth figures for the third quarter of the year show that China's economy is on course to achieve the government's target of 8% growth this year, a remarkable achievement in a world facing recession. But how sustainable is it, and how has it been achieved? These are questions we discussed with Fu Ying, China's ambassador to Britain, when she came in for Tea with The Economist. Well, Ambassador, thank you very much for joining us for Tea with The Economist. We're here to talk about the Chinese economy. China, of course, is known as the place which makes, it seems, almost everything we buy. And in a way, it's astonishing that it's growing so fast despite this, what must have been quite a big drop in exports. Well, what explains that?
The export was very much affected last year. I remember hearing our finance minister, who was here, Xie Xuren. He came here for the G20 Financial Ministers Conference, and he briefed us about what's going on in China. And he said last year he went to visit one of the, I think the biggest container manufacturer in China. He went to see their factory, and all the orders just were cancelled, right? There was no order at all. So lots of factories were on the verge of bankruptcy. Lots of workers went home. What happened was that I think the government was quite quick in responding to the crisis. It put together a package of 4 trillion Chinese yuan. That's about $600 billion of a package of stimulus measures. About over a quarter comes from the central government. The rest will be matched by the local government.
I mean, what sort of areas was that spent, that huge amount of money?
The focus is to stimulate domestic demand and consumption, and to help rural development. For example, there is a considerable raise of the school teachers' salaries, especially in the countryside. The minimum price for the grain purchase is increased to give the farmers more incentives. There is a housing scheme for the people, for the low-income people. In China, there's no slums, but there are areas where people are living in very difficult conditions. A family in one room, for example. So lots of living quarters will be developed for these kind of people. We also use this opportunity to readjust the industries. We've identified 10 sectors, including the steel, including the main industrial sectors, to encourage them to renovate themselves through technological development, to upgrade themselves, to make themselves more competitive. Of the total package, over 52% has gone into the area for rural development, for improving people's livelihood. About over 24% has gone into environmentally related, technologically related area, and the rest is for infrastructure development.
You were mentioning earlier that a lot of jobs have been created, 6 million, I think you said.
This 6 months.
Just in the 6 months. We also read, I think, as exports got hit last winter, an enormous number of jobs, some 20 million was a figure widely quoted, were lost. Has it been possible for most of those people to be re-employed? What has happened to them?
I think half of them came back after the new year. And most of them by now have found jobs either in where they worked, or new jobs, new areas. I think in China, when the migrant workers went back to China, there was a fear that there would be social problems. But people may not know that in China, when we had this property law, private property, the law on private properties passed, it took about 7 years of debating. And one of the key issue that was debated was whether the farmers could sell their land. Now the state owns the land. Farmers have a have the right to use the land, maybe forever, but they cannot sell the land. But lots of people were opposed to allowing the farmer to sell their land. Now, during the crisis, the wisdom is evident, because when the farmers went back home, they have a fallback, they have their land. So that's why you don't see such a major social problem when we have a lot more than 20 million farmers went back home.
So the implication is that the crisis and the effect of the crisis is to make a land reform less likely,
land reform, I think land reform has been going on, and it will not be stopped. The whole reform scheme will carry on, but I think I think it's wise for us to make the farmers keeping their land. Although many of the young farmers are moving into the cities, finding jobs, still having land at home is kind of a safety net in a way. But the package, a big part of the package is also going into the rural development, like providing medical care, improving medical care, providing old-aged care in the countryside.
Indeed, because I think many foreign economists look at China and identify as one of the problems that people save too much rather than consume. And one of the reasons they save too much is because they're worried about health care, they're worried about educating their children. I mean, is that analysis shared in China, and is it being tackled? Is the economy being rebalanced towards consumption?
Mm-hmm. There is certainly an agreement in China that we should, understanding in China that we should encourage more domestic consumption, and domestic demand should gradually, not completely, I think, replacing export, but definitely domestic demand should come into, should play a greater role in the economic growth. But it will take time. It will take time. I think saving is in the culture, in the Oriental culture, and that's why I can't resist the temptation of showing one of the reasons is I think China has been out of this poverty just in the past decades. This year marks the 60th anniversary. We are celebrating this important moment. And 60 years is very important. Chinese lunar calendar is one full cycle. And I've been reading on the web a lot, and I found the whole country is in the mood of nostalgia, looking back about what happened in China. China has changed so much in one lifespan. And I too, I found myself drawn into this nostalgia, and I want to show you, I brought you something my mother left me. From all the things she left me, there's this package of, and you could see she packed them carefully. She left them for me, and she thinks maybe one day I would need them again. And that's the coupons. The coupons, this local coupon is coupons for Huhehot, coupons for Inner Mongolia, yeah, and the coupons we call universal coupon, which you can use it in the whole country. And the last coupons I want to show you, that was printed 1990. Wow. 1990. So until 1990, food was rationed. The country was still not being able to fully provide the need for food. So for a country of this kind of development, we are at different stages of development compared with the UK, for example. And so the sense of being prepared for the rainy days and the sense of saving is very strong.
I suppose one of the other things that has changed, isn't it, is when you grew up, presumably healthcare, education was all free. Whereas now people do have to pay for it, which is another reason why they would have to save.
This is yes and no. When you say that healthcare is free, but it's not available to everybody. about 600 million Chinese in the rural area have never been into the hospital. And the healthcare reform now is aimed at making it reaching greater number of people. So in the countryside, for example, there are some pilot projects about health care. And the farmers, maybe the subsidy is very low, maybe about, I think, £3 in your £3 or £7. But it's enough for the farmers to have basic safety, basic assurance of going to see doctors when they're ill.
Do you think that China has a big enough voice in international economic management? You mentioned the G20, which has become a very important forum in this crisis, but should China have a bigger say in the IMF, in all sorts of global fora? Because the Chinese economy is both so big now and so fast growing. It's so much a source of world growth.
As for the voice of China in the world, it's a learning process. Of course, if IMF wants more contribution from China, they should give China more share. Now our voting power is under 4%, but they want us to provide more funding to IMF. We think it's not fair. Of course, we found a way out. We are buying bonds. But in the long run, if they want us to play a greater role, then there should be greater say. But we understand that the international financial systems reform will take time, and we are patient.
Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you.
China's leaders may indeed be patient, but they're also making it clear that they won't wait forever until they're allowed to play a larger role in global economic decision-making. But as China's ambassador made clear, their main priority remains the domestic economy.
The Economist.